Thanks everybody for coming out today. My name is Nate Levin. I'm the general manager here at the facility. I'm going to give a chance for the Unified Command to introduce themselves, a few of the folks. But first off, I do want to stress that I am grateful for all the work that's gone on at the site, for the first responders to the agency work. It's helped us get through these last few days very well.
Good afternoon. My name's Kelly Cook with TCEQ, Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. And my position at TCEQ is Deputy Director for our Critical Infrastructure Division. We're glad to be here today. We've had teams on the ground out here since the very beginning, conducting air monitoring and being involved in the incident command to support the community and the local responders. And the one message I'd just like to say is that we will be here through this event to ensure that the appropriate remediation and remedial activities are conducted and everything stays safe for the community. Thank you.
I'm Edie Ouedraogo with the U.S. EPA. I'm a federal on-scene coordinator on this incident, and we are here to support the state and providing coordination, assistance, and support as long as they need.
Okay. So again, I'm going to start with an ops update on our current situation, and then we'll open it up for some questions. So as of yesterday evening, we have extinguished the fire at the facility. We are continuing to use response measures to control the hotspots. And during that time, we were able to start reducing the discharge to the ship channel. And as of just a little bit ago, we have closed that valve, and we are not discharging into the ship channel at this point.
Desde el día de ayer logramos contener el incendio. Ya no estamos haciendo más emisiones y en el canal de barcos tampoco estaremos emitiendo más emisiones.
And at this point, we'll open it up for some questions.
Can you update us on any findings regarding the air quality?
¿Nos pueden actualizar con cualquier hallazgo que hayan hecho con respecto a la calidad del aire?
So the air monitoring has been ongoing, and we have had no levels detected of chemicals above any thresholds.
El monitoreo continúa y no hemos encontrado ningún nivel químico alzado.
Is there any worry that the fire will be reignited again?
¿Hay alguna inquietud de que el fuego pueda volver a incendiar?
We are continuing our response operations with water suppression to prevent that.
Continuamos nuestros trabajos con la supresión del agua para prevenir eso.
Is the water still being guided into an area that's boomed off, and what will happen to that water eventually?
El agua todavía está siendo contenida en barreras y qué va a suceder con esa agua eventualmente.
Yeah. So yesterday morning we had to use our discharge point for the water as we were running out of containment on site. At this point today, it's closed, and we did that controlled discharge to ensure we had mitigations in place to manage that water.
Hoy lo tenemos cerrado ya que no teníamos más espacio, pero tenemos nuestro protocolo de seguridad para asegurarnos que eso no suceda. ¿Alguna inquietud con la calidad del aire o del agua?
Certainly, that's something we always look at. And one of the first things that the TCEQ, one of the first actions taken by TCEQ was to talk with the facility, Shell, and direct them to take all necessary remediation and mitigation efforts to stop any unauthorized discharges or releases to the environment, including the waterways. And so we've also asked them to collect water samples and make sure they had their booms in place, which they've done. We're also collecting our own samples as well. I understand the waterway looks pretty good right now, but certainly we will review all the information and have a presence at the site throughout this to ensure that everything stays in an acceptable manner. You know, when we talk about a discharge, unauthorized discharges is not allowed. And of course, we'll investigate that. And we don't want to see a situation where there is a uncontrolled discharge. certainly. And so we're here to make sure that everything that is done and any of the water that's contained on site is properly treated before it's released in accordance with the permit limits, and that anything that has been released that we find is cleaned up appropriately, and that they limit any impacts off-site.
How do you know for a fact that the community is safe? I mean, that was a message we heard after ITC. The recent report showed that necessarily wasn't the case. Benzene still in the air causing impacts. How can you be so quick to know that everything is fine for these community members?
And I can let Shell talk about this as well, but I can tell you right now, we have overwhelmed the area with air monitoring. Shell has their fence line monitoring. They brought in CTEH as their contractor. We brought in our contractor. We've had at times up to 3 vans in and around the community areas. We've had 2 on-the-ground teams conducting air monitoring. EPA's brought in their START contractor. I don't want to talk for EPA. They've partnered with us and conducted their air monitoring. And then again, also the Harris County Pollution Control was out there conducting their air monitoring, and all of our results were coming back the same. And so that's important. You know, we're not saying there were no detections, saying that any detections were very low and certainly well below any levels of concern. And so that was something that was important for us to do.
Bueno, nosotros nos aseguramos que los protocolos de mitigación estaban en lugar y estamos trabajando cercanamente con ellos para que no vayan a desechar más agua.
I have a follow-up for Shell. You know, this happened Friday at 3 o'clock. They put out some statements over the weekend, some of them conflicting. It's been nearly 70 hours since this happened. How come you're just now holding a news conference answering questions about this?
¿Por qué hasta ahora, si el viernes ocurrió el incendio, están teniendo entonces una conferencia de prensa?
Yeah, so our intention was to be there, and we were actually on our way to the press conference on Friday, and there was a miscommunication on our side, and that's a regret. We strive to keep the community updated, and I know they want to hear from us, and we're working to make sure that's happening.
Un error comunicativo de nosotros, se supone que lo íbamos a hacer el viernes. Nosotros nos tenemos que asegurar que la comunidad recibe esa respuesta tal y como lo espera. ¿Cada cuánto se están haciendo estas evaluaciones?
For the air monitoring, fairly continuous. I mean, while the fire was burning, we were continuously around the facility, both with instantaneous, you know, the handheld monitors and our DUVAS air sampling vans. And we posted all that information up on our website. Tremendous amount of information. I would direct you there to go up, and you can see all of our different data pulls for the monitoring analysis. It's all up there on the web for you to take a look at.
En todo momento se ha hecho monitoreo con nuestras unidades móviles y toda esa información se encuentra en la página en línea para que la puedan buscar.
Another question for Shell. You guys declared, you guys expected to, is there any sort of force majeure situation for any products? And if so, do you guys have any sort of plan in terms of like supplying the market, at least the contractual volume?
Yeah, we haven't issued force majeure. Oh, you go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
¿Han ustedes implementado planes con sus productos en los momentos?
Yeah. So, yeah, we have not issued force majeure, and we're working through that.
Aún no lo han hecho.
Just going back to Friday, I'm just trying to understand. So what happened when you couldn't hold a news conference? And then I'm sure all of us would have been there had you called a second one. So I'm just trying to understand why it took almost 70 hours to answer questions. And then what would be your message to the community 70 hours later?
Quiero entender por qué no se llamó una segunda conferencia de prensa, por qué 70 horas después, y dicho eso, ¿qué le tienen que decir a la comunidad?
Yeah, so our message to the community is that, you know, the fire has been extinguished, and we're continuing our response to manage the hotspots. Our discharge to the ship channel has stopped, and we are working to ensure that we're communicating and hearing from us in the community.
But what happened? I mean, why didn't you have that news conference on Friday?
So we were on our way there, and there was a miscommunication on our front, and we didn't get there when it started, and we were in the middle of our response, working through making sure we were keeping the response and understanding the impacts that could be out there that were not.
Desafortunadamente no pudimos llegar a la conferencia de prensa por un malentendido que hubo, pero nosotros estamos trabajando, ese es el mensaje que le queremos dar a la comunidad, ya el incendio está apagado y estamos trabajando para reducir los desperdicios que se puedan emitir.
Do you have an update on the 9 people that were evaluated at the hospital and how are their conditions today?
¿Alguna actualización en las condiciones de salud de las 9 personas que fueron hospitalizadas?
Yeah, so we over the duration of the incident, we have had 15 individuals get evaluated and released. That they came in over the course of the first day. They're all in, we are working with our contract partners on their health and understanding where they're at, and we're keeping abreast of their condition.
Durante el evento, 15 personas fueron a ser revisadas, todas fueron dadas de altas y estamos trabajando con su proveedor médico para asegurarnos que sus condiciones sean óptimas.
Is there anything that you think could have been done to prevent something like this in the future? What else would you do differently?
¿Hay algo que piensan ustedes que pudieron haber hecho para prevenir esto o algo que puedan hacer distinto en el futuro?
Yeah, so our priority right now is to continue with the response and ensure we don't have a reignition of the fire. Once that's complete, we will begin an investigation. As I'm sure you understand, we are very interested in knowing what happened, and we will learn through that and understand what we can do to implement that as we begin operations again.
Nuestra prioridad es que no vuelva a suceder otra vez y en cuanto eso haya concluido, pues será investigar para asegurarnos que no vuelva a ocurrir.
So your message today, despite what we saw and smell and witness, is that everything is okay?
O sea que el mensaje que nos está dando después de todo lo que vimos, olimos y atestiguamos es que todo está bien.
Okay, yeah, so again, we're still in the response. Yes, the fire is extinguished, but we're still managing these hot spots in the equipment. And we're going to continue our air monitoring, as the TCQ mentioned, and we'll inform if things change.
Bueno, el fuego está extinguido, vamos a seguir trabajando en esas zonas calientes y vamos a seguir trabajando de mano a mano con el TCQ en caso de que algo llegase a cambiar.
And the reignition from Saturday, I believe, right? Was it the same products that were burning? Did it spread to any other units?
It was the same, yes.
Fueron los mismos, lo mismo que se volvió a incendiar el sábado del viernes.
Question for TCQ, going back, there were just several violations and issues with the same facility. Some of them in the report said that, they needed to do better maintenance in the past and caused issues, previously. Have you reviewed those previous incidents? Did any of them match what may have happened on Friday? Is there any concern moving forward that Shell can safely operate that facility?
¿Ya han considerado sobre los eventos que han pasado previamente qué es lo que tienen que hacer para que puedan operar seguramente?
Yes, so we have looked at all the past violations and taken those into consideration and looked at that. And right now we're at the point where we want to take the current circumstances and apply those to that compliance history, look back at facility operations, and we'll do that and apply those forward. So certainly, we'll take all of that into consideration, during our investigation.
But just looking at the previous reports, are you troubled by what happened on Friday, knowing what has happened in the past?
So from the previous reports, from compliance history ratings, they were satisfactory. Again, to caveat that, we'll certainly take a look at the current circumstances and evaluate the facility based on that. These types of incidents are unfortunate. We never want to see these, and we take that very seriously, and we will investigate it.
And explain to people at home what TCQ will be investigating and what will be done to make sure that this does not happen again.
We'll follow all of our enforcement procedures for the agency, and we have all that on our website. You can follow that. But we'll be looking at the air release. This is an emission event, and we'll evaluate that and whether there's any enforcement or violations that need to come from the emission event itself. We'll also look to see if it was an excessive emission event and evaluate that as well. We'll also look at the unauthorized discharge to the waterway and evaluate that to see if there's any violations. And then any other items that fall under our purview as a regulator at the facility itself, we'll look at those closely and conduct an investigation. and make sure, those are followed up on. One of the main things we're going to do, though, is ensure that the remediation of any off-site impacts and on-site impacts are conducted in accordance with all state and federal rules and regulations. And so our most urgent concern is that that's all stopped and ceases right now, and that there is no threat to the nearby community, and that stays well protected. And in doing so, we've talked to Shell and gone through some of the air monitoring and some of their plans, and they continue to conduct their air monitoring as long as it's needed to make sure the community is safe. And we're very, that's very important to us to make sure that they protect anyone off-site. And I believe they feel that same way as well. EPA's here. We wouldn't be here, if this wasn't important to us, and that's why we are here today, actually. So, thank you. Sorry.
I apologize.
Nosotros estamos tomando en cuenta las infracciones en el pasado. Como decimos, esto es un evento infortuito y vamos a seguir trabajando de la mano a mano con Shell para asegurarnos que no vuelva a suceder.
Just a question online, since they have a wastewater discharge to the channel, and if the rain completely spreads,
¿Pueden decir cuánto residuo fue desechado en el agua y si llueve, cómo se podría complicar esto?
Yeah, so we're still calculating total volume because it changed over the last 24 hours, but we initially started, it was around 11,000 gallons a minute, and throughout the day up until we closed the valve completely, it was reducing.
Todavía se está monitoreando, pero en un momento fueron 11,000 galones por minuto, pero a medida que se ha ido trabajando en esto ha ido reduciendo.
Does the Coast Guard need to expand on that? I see it here. If you have anything to add to the waterways.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Captain Keith Donahue. I'm the deputy at Coast Guard Sector Houston Galveston. As you may know, the Coast Guard has several authorities on the water side. As of today, we don't have any negative reports on both the environment, safety, or the economic impacts for the waterway for the ship channel right now.
Hoy por hoy no tenemos ningún resultado negativo en el agua ni en el canal de barcos.
About the unauthorized discharge, whose fault is that?
Yeah, so what is to that, go ahead, you can.
¿A quién le podemos atribuir el desecho al agua?
Yeah, the controlled discharge was a result of the amount of water we were using to respond to the fire. We had to make a choice on doing a controlled discharge that allowed us to put mitigations in place, like booming, for example, to prevent product from getting into the ship channel. If we chose not to do that, we would have been having an uncontrolled discharge. So that would have much more likely impacted the ship channel in the environmental space and in the economic space.
Este desecho controlado fue emitido debido al agua que se ocupó para mitigar el incendio, pero si no se hubieran utilizado los protocolos de las barreras, pudiese haber sido peor.
I guess just to follow up on that as well, the process of getting an authorization, what is that like, or has it been too arduous and time-consuming?
¿Cuál es el proceso de conseguir una autorización de ese índole?
Yeah, the permit has a process that we notify the agencies when we do the discharge.
El permiso sigue un proceso al cual nosotros le notificamos a las agencias para poder hacer el desecho.
Are you able to verify where exactly on the ocean the fire started? I heard exchanger, I heard gas, oil burning. Is that something that you can do?
¿Pueden decir dónde fue que comenzó el incendio? ¿Es algo que lo pueden medir?
Yeah, so as I said, we're still doing the response, and once we get through that, we'll start our investigation and we'll get more details on the exact location.
Todavía estamos en la etapa de respuesta. En cuanto nosotros completemos nuestra investigación, podríamos brindarle más información sobre eso.
Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming here today. We're going to wrap it up now. If you have any further follow-up questions, please reach out to Unified Command.